Imagine a place where all the world's knowledge, every mathematical theorem, every medicinal remedy, every poem, philosophy, and scientific observation was stored under one roof, a beacon of enlightenment in an age of superstition, a sanctuary for the greatest minds of the ancient world. And then, imagine it vanishing, lost, burned, stolen, reduced to whispers and ashes. The Great Library of Alexandria was not just a building. It was an idea, an ambition, a dream of collecting all human knowledge, a place where scholars from Greece, Egypt, India, Persia, and beyond came together to expand the frontiers of thought. It was a symbol of civilization itself. And yet, this sanctuary of wisdom was doomed to suffer one of the most tragic fates in history. The library was founded in the 3rd century BCE by Ptolemy I, one of Alexander the Great's generals, who sought to make Alexandria the intellectual capital of the world. Under his successors, the library flourished, growing into an unparalleled repository of scrolls and manuscripts, some say up to 500,000. No ship entered Alexandria's harbor without its texts being copied for the library. It is said that scholars worked tirelessly, compiling the first real catalog of knowledge, classifying everything from astronomy to anatomy. But what happened to it? How does a treasure of such magnitude simply disappear? The truth is, no one knows for certain, and perhaps that is the most heartbreaking part of all. Some blame Julius Caesar. In 48 BCE, during his siege of Alexandria, Caesar's forces set fire to enemy ships in the harbor. The flames spread, engulfing parts of the city. Ancient writers claim that warehouses filled with papyrus were reduced to cinders. Was this the first wound inflicted upon the library? Perhaps. But the library stood for centuries more. If this was the end, how did scholars still speak of it in later years? Others point to the decree of Theophilus, the Patriarch of Alexandria, in the late 4th century CE. Pagan temples were being demolished, their treasures destroyed. The Serapeum, a grand temple that may have housed the remnants of the library, was torn down by zealous Christian mobs. Did they unknowingly erase what was left of centuries of scholarship? Or was the library already a ghost by then, its knowledge scattered and forgotten? And then, there is the story of the Muslim conquest of Egypt in the 7th century CE. Some accounts claim that when the Caliph Umar was asked what to do with the books of the library, he replied, "If the books agree with the Quran, they are redundant. If they contradict it, they are heretical. Burn them." Could it be that the final embers of the library were extinguished by this act? Or is this merely legend, crafted long after the fact? In truth, the destruction of the Great Library was not a single event. It was a slow unraveling, a death not by fire alone, but by neglect, conquest, and time. Knowledge, once carefully gathered, was left to decay, its scrolls scattered, stolen, repurposed for wrapping fish, or lost in the chaos of war, and what was lost was immeasurable. Imagine if the works of the lost philosophers, the forgotten scientists, and the ancient historians had survived. What medical breakthroughs might we have discovered centuries earlier? What scientific revolutions might have come sooner? What mysteries of the past might we now hold in our hands? The loss of the Great Library was not just the destruction of books, it was the erasure of possibilities, of futures that might have been. And so we are left with a tragedy of history, a place that once held the collective knowledge of mankind, now reduced to myth and speculation. But perhaps, in its absence, the library has left us with one final lesson: that knowledge, once lost, is nearly impossible to reclaim. That preservation, curiosity, and the pursuit of wisdom are more fragile than we dare to imagine. So the next time you step into a library, remember Alexandria, remember the dream that once was, and remember that the greatest treasure of any civilization is not gold, nor monuments, nor empires. It is knowledge, and it is our duty to protect it, lest we too one day be forgotten. But perhaps the story does not end there. While the physical structure of the Great Library was lost, its spirit lingers in every institution of learning, in every scholar who seeks to uncover the truths of the past. Modern libraries, universities, and digital archives carry forward the legacy of Alexandria, ensuring that knowledge is not only preserved, but also made accessible to future generations. Perhaps in a way, the Great Library never truly died. Perhaps it lives on in the minds of those who refuse to let knowledge slip into oblivion. The dream of Alexandria may have been burned to the ground, but as long as we continue to seek, to question, and to learn, its flame will never be extinguished.